All right, it's December 12th. Bottom bid, Dante, was from, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. One of your first vids we took with you. And the top bid here is your most current one. And again, your biggest issue with your swing was lack of a proper pivot and turn and shift. But it was all kind of encouraged with your setup. And I'm putting this little vid together just to keep your eyes aware where you were and where you're at now. You remember your setup, you had a tendency to get this spine almost tilted forward, versus now look at you, it'll tilt away like you're supposed to. Remember this old setup now, that right foot was squared off. It was almost like you're sitting into your right hip at a dress. But all this now we're much better set up. It looks like you got 50% of your weight on your back foot and 50% of your weight on your front foot. More importantly, now it looks like you're facing the golf ball. You know what I mean? Whereas up here, it looked like you're always facing out here at 11 o'clock, so to speak. And this all encourages improper hip rotation and shift. Now let's look at your bottom swing, get you to the top here and see what it looks like. Hopefully you don't remember too much of this. I'm hoping you don't, but in any event, as long as we're not physically doing it, we're good. All right, a couple things now. Remember that right foot weight used to get the outside of that right foot. Remember that? Your hip was sliding this way instead of turning. Let's put that in rewind again and look at it. Watch this right hip now in that bottom vid. So move, there you go. Move that way. And because of that, your upper body has to compensate and ends up overextended and reverse pivoted this way. Now let's look at the top swing now, man. This is a light years different. Way better. Look at this now. Look at your right hip now. You got yourself into your right side, as we call it in the coaching terms. You're a little bit of motion this way. More importantly, you're just winding up, which is really good. Look at that right foot now. It's no longer leading to the outside of the right edge of the foot. The weight's staying on the inner part of that instep there. There's no lateral slide with the hips either. This is all really good stuff, man. Light years different from 6 weeks ago. Any event. Now, this top swing, you have the ability now, because you've loaded up to your right side, you have the ability to unload to your left side and turn and rotate out of the way. Whereas with this downward video, when your upper body's hyperextended this way, on the downswing, there's only one way to go, and that's usually backwards. That's what you do, or did, I should say. And there you go. Now your head's starting to drop and fight everything this way, right? Just light years difference in these two swings, which is really good to see. Now let's get that top one going again. I'm going to put this in slow motion. We're going to wind it up and go. Your setup looks a lot better. Your spine is more centered. The weight distributed both on 50-50 on both feet. It just looks a lot more natural. Probably doesn't feel natural yet, but it will. Now, your homework is just to do a lot of reps. You got to get to this to a point where you don't have to think about it, obviously. Don't worry about results. Don't worry about the numbers on the screen or whatnot. Just get used to moving this way. All right, perfect.